Hello everyone, today I'm just going to be doing a digital speed paint in the background while I talk, but I guess that's typically what I normally do. Feel free to pick up a pencil or a stylus and draw along. I really like these kind of videos to just throw on in the background while I do my art. Maybe not everybody does that. I'm sure other people do that, but I like to just throw on a super chill art video, maybe a sketching video or a speed paint while I do my own art. That way, it kind of feels like you got a little bit of company. It also just gives me something that's kind of low effort to listen to. I get bored of my music playlist somewhat often, and sometimes I like to opt to listen to a podcast, but that takes a lot of commitment, especially the kinds of podcasts I listen to. They are very long. It's nice sometimes just to put on something that's not music, but not needing a lot of brain focus to listen to. I am so bad at really absorbing what I'm listening to while I'm doing other things, unless the task is like super mindless, like cleaning the kitchen or something. That's easy. But if I'm trying to focus on art at the same time as listening to something, I will totally tune out what I am listening to while I'm doing the art. Like, I'm okay at most multitasking, or at least I think I am, but that's probably what everybody says. But when it comes to audio information, I am very bad at retaining it. I've gotten a lot better at it, but it goes right over my head a lot of the time. So putting on a sketching video or something in the background just gives me something to kind of tune into occasionally when I need a break from what I'm drawing for like 3 seconds and then go back to what I'm doing. And it's also fun to look over and see what they're drawing. This painting I was originally planning to use for another video, one more focused on brushstrokes and had like a theme to it, but it's just I haven't gotten around to making that video, and this painting is just getting older and older, so I figured that I would show it now and just do a kind of just touch on what I was thinking about talking about while it's playing in the background as a speed paint instead of the more detailed version I was planning on doing. So as some of you probably already know, I used to draw a more clean sort of concept art style. I don't know what you'd really call it, but it definitely wasn't this. At least for me, I felt like it was so lifeless. I couldn't put myself in the painting or like any emotion, and I felt like I was more just putting shapes down without any sort of reasoning for it. And like, if that's how some people do art, that's fine if that's what works for them. But I just felt like if I can't put any sort of mood or emotion into the painting or have the painting have a purpose, when I look back on it, it just looks like a picture, and one that I constantly critique at that. So I started using a more brushstrokey style to be more expressive in my art. And this is not something that I just like did overnight. That's not how this works. This started over probably a year. It probably just started a year ago, and then I've started to do it more consistently. So it's not like it was it was a quick shift, but it wasn't a super quick shift. I also stopped doing overly detailed sketches. I followed the sketches into the finished painting. But now I more kind of just roughly outline where I want things to be, and then I scribble a bunch of colors that go together behind the sketch, and then slowly build it up, kind of how you would do a traditional oil painting. I know a lot of people like to keep their art super clean and don't want the mistakes to show through. I still do that to an extent. With these paintings, they're not quite as expressive as I'd like them to be, but art style's a journey. You can't just skip forward to where you want to be. It's constantly changing. One of the hardest things with this painting was getting the colors right. I obviously wanted it to have a green bottom with the yellow top, but it ended up looking a little too overall green. Like, when I was working on it at the time, I didn't notice. You get a little blinded to what you've been staring at for hours. But after going into like the color adjustments and the curves, I found out that like it was so green, and I see it now that I look back at it, but while I was working on it, I didn't notice at all. Also, there was very little contrast. When I turned it to black and white, I could see that many of the pieces of the dragon kind of blended into the background, which isn't what I wanted. One of my favorite things to do is to paint blocky, kind of chunky foliage. I think it's so fun just to fill a whole piece with different kinds of leaves and flowers. And honestly, they are so made up, I don't know if any of these actually exist. They're just a series of dots and lines to look like foliage. This painting is actually quite a few months old. Like I said, I was planning on using it for another video, but I didn't want it to become something so old that my style had changed so much it wasn't worth showing. For any of you who have seen my Pinterest account, you've probably already seen this painting. It's one of my favorites. It's not the first painting I did full brush strokey. Is there another word for that? If there is, somebody please let me know. I don't know what to call it. Painterly, brush strokey? That's not a word. But anyways, so this wasn't the first painting I did in this style, but it was one of the first. And it was the first one that I did where I really liked the way it turned out. I still really like it. I know the concept is so simple, but sometimes simple concepts just work out great. So I titled this piece While Summer Sleeps. I don't want to go too much into it. I want people to interpret it how they want to, but I had a few ideas for why I was painting this piece, but one of the ideas I had was that this dragon named Summer brings all the life back after winter. I know you'd be like, oh, well, why not spring? But she does this until it's summertime, and then she sleeps again until winter. Or I was thinking it could be summer's not yet here and it is spring, and she's sleeping, and because it's not her time to wake up yet. So those are just some ideas I had. I didn't have anything super particular for this piece. I just wanted to more convey a sort of calm emotion, but maybe being a little bit smothered or hidden by the things around. I know it's May, and a lot of artists are probably participating in mermay. If you don't know what that is an art challenge where you draw a mermaid or mermaid-like creature every day for the month of May. So that's super fun. There's a lot of challenges like that. I'm really looking forward to Smoggist, where you draw a dragon every day. I'll probably be participating in that one. I might still do something for mermay. Obviously, I can't do every day now since it's already halfway through May, but I'd like to do at least one piece. I wouldn't do a traditional mermaid. As you can tell, I don't draw people very much at all, and so I'd probably go more the creature route that I've seen some other artists do. I've seen like manta ray mermaids. Those are really cool. Or some mermaids that are more sea animal than human. I really like looking at those ones. So maybe we'll do something like that. I'm not sure yet. Alright, well, that's all I really have to talk about for this video. I hope you guys liked the painting, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!